Hey guys, Kev here, and I have a really cool knife to show you today. This is the new Knife Standards RR3. This is a prototype, and these are actually in production now with Best Tech as the OEM. And there is an open pre-order right now for these if you want to pick one up. The delivery window is set for August, September. They are $335, and there are 3 versions of this available. I will pull up the website a little later on, and we can look at those versions. This one here that I have is the stone milled pattern, which is their signature pattern because it has the lines this way here and then kind of diagonal along the side. So that is a Knife Standards sort of, that's their trademarked sort of milling pattern. Not really trademarked, but you know what I'm saying. We have a stonewashed Vanex super clean blade on here. We have a liner lock for the lockup. We can check and see if that is steel. And it is steel, which I think is better for a couple reasons. We did titanium on the Buzz. Let me grab that. So this was also OEM by Best Tech, and this is the Divo Buzz model. And we did titanium liner on this, and that increased the cost, and then it also made it where the knife had to be thicker. The handles, I mean the liner and everything had to be thicker. You can see how much thinner this lock bar is, which I think is better. This we made thicker because you had to fit a steel insert in there. So this knife is fantastic. It came out great. But the knife overall had to be a little thicker than we wanted it to be because of that. And of course you have that thicker liner in there to fit the lock bar insert. So that's a couple things that are a downside when it comes to using titanium for a liner lock. I actually prefer steel, even though in my little rat brain it seems less premium, you know. But this is, I can guarantee you this is nice and premium, so don't worry about that. But yeah, it's $335 on the pre-order with Knife Standards, which I think is fantastic. This knife was $330 retail, and we did, I think, $299 on the pre-order, but $330 retail for this. And this has 20 CV. This has Vanex Super Clean, which is actually more expensive by a good margin when it comes to OEM work. You know, you're usually paying on the customer side, you're usually paying an extra, I don't know, $30 or $40 just to have Vanex on your knife. And some companies will, you know, bump that up even more. But, so I think the values here, I mean, you have a milled pocket clip. I believe you can fit a wire clip as well, but it's a milled pocket clip that comes with the knife. And you get Vanex Super Clean. This one came with a wire clip and 20 CV and was $330 retail, which I think was actually a decent price for this based off of what we paid for these. Our price was reasonable, but this is a great price. So I guess that's what I'm getting at there. One other thing to note is he has the Vanex listed at 60 to 61. And here is another one of our knives. This is the Stout V2. And we did Vanex Super Clean on this one as well through Best Tech. And I can confirm that the HRC on these, they tested the run, and they came in at 60.6 HRC. I have a sheet from Best Tech on that. You can actually request that for your run of knives, which is pretty cool. So he's dead on there with 60 to 61, and that is optimal for Vanex Super Clean. You're not supposed to go higher than, I believe, 61 on Vanex. So those are all great things. We have T8 construction across the board, which is fantastic. Minimal construction, or sorry, hardware. You have a T8 here, and then obviously for the clip, T8 here for the clip, and then you have the pivot, and that is it. You have his nice square pivot, the RR pivot. This is, his line of knives is basically dedicated to his father who passed away, which has been an amazing story with ATR. He's a great dude, and I love that he basically built a knife company around dedicating it to his father, and that's a really cool thing to see. And this one is the RR3. It's their smallest, I should say smallest. I don't know if it's slimmer than the standard, but it's got to be pretty close. That one was a frame lock. But it's their smallest offering yet, so I think it's going to be a great EDC knife for people. And I kind of feel like you can see parts of the station and the standard in this knife, which I think is very cool. Another comparable to this knife, in my opinion, and I wish I had it here, but it's in the pass-around right now, is the Quiet Carry Waypoint. Either the regular one or the large one. It kind of has a similar vibe going on. You have the drop point, you have Vanex, titanium, right? Very corrosion resistant. Now the Waypoint is going to have an LC200N liner, which makes that liner stainless as well. I don't know what this steel lock bar is made out of, so it could probably corrode. And then you have washers in, bearings in here, so there are washers, and I guess those could corrode as well. So you have a couple things that could get rust on them, so you still want to keep the knife clean, but the blade itself is going to be, you know, basically rust proof, which is fantastic. Add a really cool stone wash to that, and you get a really nice package. So I really dig this thing. I've been carrying it for a couple days now. It took me a little while to get to this review. It's just been crazy. And I wanted to, you know, actually carry it a few days and get a feel for it. And the pocket clip is fantastic. It goes in and out of pocket very easily. I carried it in my left hip pocket on my off the grid pants. If you haven't seen those pants, I have a video on it, and there's a link and a discount for 15% down below to Off the Grid Surplus. They are the best pants you can get, I think, for EDC because they have reinforced knife pockets. Basically, your front pockets have reinforcements on the side where your pocket clip would go. And then they have an extra mag pocket which fits a phone and knives perfectly. So it makes it really easy for me to carry right-handed knives like this on my left hip. So I can carry them basically left-handed, but they're in the pocket right-handed, so the blade can't open or anything. It's worked out perfectly for me. And this rode fantastically over there. I had no issues with it. It's fairly lightweight. It's got really good ergonomics as well. But yeah, the carry was really good. The clip is nice and low profile. You can see it's kind of a flat, squared off clip, which is great in the hand. You literally do not feel this in the hand. I think this is going to be his best EDC knife just because of the size. For me personally, I really liked the standard, but it was a little bit bigger than I normally like to carry. And it was a right-handed frame lock. And the station I love, but it's just so big. I need a mini station, a substation. And this one just kind of is in that perfect size range for me personally. Large glove size hand. Just feels really good. That drop point blade is easy to get a good grip on here. You can pinch grip it like this. Now, I do wish the tip was a little bit lower. I'm definitely a sheep's foot guy, but this is a very versatile blade shape in everyday use. So it's going to be fantastic. Centering is dead on. We have great usage of the whole handle. I've been meaning to ask ATR why he doesn't do backspacers. I've never seen a backspacer on one of his knives. And I don't know if it's to help keep the knife clean because you can just blow it out, no problem, versus having, you know, a backspacer you might get some gunk into or something like that. I don't know if it's for weight relief or potentially if it's for cost savings. I don't know. Just curious on that. Maybe he can answer that down in the comments. But Yeah, I love this milling pattern. It's absolutely stunning. Just a beautiful, beautiful milling pattern on there. And the detent, I will say, it is both perfect and a little bit too light. So this is a prototype, which is awesome because that means you're allowed to make adjustments. And I'm sure ATR will dial this puppy in for production. But I say it's both perfect and a little too light. What do I mean by that? Well, the thumb studs, absolutely perfect. It just fires out of there with those studs. Those studs are nice and tucked in, but you have plenty of access to them. Right-handed. I mean, it just absolutely Kung Fu Panda fires out of there. No idea why I went with that reference. Reverse flick is great. You can get in there real nice and reverse flick it. This is one of the better thumb stud knives that I've found for thumb flick and reverse flick. Sometimes they're a little too tight into the frame there. Being left-handed, I would just reverse the clip, and then this would be a lot easier for me. Right now, I have to kind of hang on to it, a little bit awkward to do the reverse flick. But if I had the clip there, I could just, you know, fire it. But yeah, the thumb studs are absolute money. Now, I say it's also too light because you'll see sometimes it just bounces off. Of course, it won't do it now, but it'll kind of just bounce off when I go to close it. I don't know if you can hear that. But it'll kind of bounce back up, and then come back down. And that is because for the front flipper, to me, it's a little soft. I think it needs to be a little bit stronger, because with the front flipper, I go to deploy it, and I kind of just end up rolling it around, you know? And some people prefer that, right? You don't have to fight anything. You're just rolling that flipper tab, and that reach around, or that rollback move works really well. Now, once you get used to it, it works pretty damn good, but I always kind of feel like the knife is breaking the detent before I ever even, you know, start to flick it. And there you go. You can see it bounced off. So it's just a very soft detent. It, I think, will be... Okay, so it does shake out really easily too. So, yeah, I would just make that a little bit stronger, or if anything, make the detent hole a little bit deeper so that ball engages further, and then you're going to have better retention, so it won't fall out like this, but it'll still be soft enough detent coming out that the front flipper won't feel impossible to do. So a little bit deeper detent hole, I think, would be ideal here, because then you'll get a little bit of a crisper break, but not necessarily a much stronger detent, if that makes sense. Because I don't think the detent needs to be that much stronger. I think it's more just the retention. It needs to give you a little bit of a just pop on the way out, if that makes sense. Another thing I would recommend, if we're taking any feedback on this, I know it's in production, so maybe not, is the jimping here. I would love to see this be a little bit tighter up around here, and then come around so that you have something to grip at the top. Because you can see how it comes up, it stops right here. This is your last jimp right here, and they're not very aggressive. So because that detent is so light, you can still get to it, but it still feels a little awkward when you're up at that top portion there. And if the detent were stronger, which I think would be ideal, then it would probably hurt a little bit to deploy. So I feel like this area needs a little bit of work, just a little more jimping, tighter space, something like that. Or I know he's not going to want to do this because it'll mess with the lines, but make the tab a little bit bigger so you have something more to grab onto. Now, with all that said, if this was my knife and I carried it every day or whatever, I would 100% be able to get used to this, and I'm sure it would be fine. Especially if the detent were adjusted just a little bit. You can operate it pretty easily, but as is, I much prefer the studs over the front flipper, and if it was my knife, I would probably just ignore that front flipper, if I'm being honest. So them is my thoughts on the deployments. The closing action is fantastic. You have ceramic bearings in there. It'll drop to your nail and shake down easy. There's no play in any direction. Maybe a little side to side. I could probably dial that out. But the action feels great. It's Best Tech, guys. They do a great job. Let's see, what else? Did we talk about ergonomics? Super comfortable back here. Very reminiscent of the standard. And then you have this flat portion here you can choke up on. Also fantastic. You have some jimping right here in this grip. You know me, I always want that little Vox patch. But I don't think it's necessary. Just a me thing. In terms of milling, we have milling holes inside. Let me grab my flashlight. You can see the 3 holes there, and there's 1 down there. So they've relieved whatever they could. They actually put a bunch of little holes along the top here. So they've done what they can to, you know, bring the weight down. I'd say it's a little heavier than the stout and about the same as the Buzz. If I remember correctly, this guy is like 4 ounces. So I'm going to say this is somewhere around 4 ounces, but could be a little less or a little more, whatever. Let's talk about specs, because I did get a spec sheet, so I want to make sure I show you that. Again, we're talking about VanX Super Clean. We have a captive pivot with the custom square design, which is really nice. All T8 construction, 2.9-inch cutting edge. Here's millimeters if anybody needs to check it. You can pause and then screenshot this and read it, whatever you want to do. 2.9 cutting edge, 3.2 total blade length. Blade thickness is 0.113 millimeters. It is a flat grind. It's going to be a great slicer, guys. Stonewash blade finish, titanium, obviously grade 5 titanium. Handle length is 4.2, handle height 0.94, and then your handle width is 0.53. So it's actually thicker than I thought. I thought it would be closer to ½ an inch, but it's 0.53. It does not feel like a thick boy in the hand. This is what I was saying in another video, is some knives feel thicker when they're thicker. Like the Vero Axon can feel a little bit thick because of the way it's designed. Great knife, still a great pocket knife, great EDC. The Synapse, same thing. It can feel a little chunky. You notice it, right? Not that it's a bad thing, but you notice it. Where on this one, I don't think you notice it. It feels just great in the hand. So they got the perfect thickness for this knife, is what I would say. 7.4 overall, like I said, basically perfect size for me. This is the Stout V2, and we are very close. You get a little bit more blade on the Stout V2 and a little bit more handle. The Pony Stout, I believe, has a 2.9-inch blade. Let's double check that. Thought it did. Let me grab the tape measure here, because something's wrong. I'm wrong. So, nope, I was wrong. The, well, no. 2.8, I guess, right? That would be 2.75, so 2.8. This might be a little more. Oh, right. It was 3.2 overall. That was the cutting edge. That's where I got confused. So I think the Buzz or the Stout would be a good comparison, because you're talking about 3.3 overall, 7.6 total. Sorry, 3.3 blade, 7.6 total. And then this one you're talking about, yeah, basically I think it's a little more than 3.2. Nope, he's right. 3.2 and 7.35, something like that. So, yeah, ideal EDC range for my personal taste is basically what that is. I'll stop trying to do math because I suck at it. T8 ceramic bearing, ceramic detent, 4.3 ounces. I was close. And the designer is ATR, best tech on the OEM. So, absolutely fantastic knife. This is available now on pre-order on knifestandards.com. I will link that down below for anybody who wants to pick one up. I'm going to pull up the website now. He also has some stations still available, which is awesome. So here is the RR3, and they have 3 cool versions. So you're going to have, looks like, Timascus and Zircuti options for pocket clips, which is cool. And just so you know, I don't know if these would fit on here. I've had people ask me, so I don't know. Or on this one. People have tried to put his clip on our knives. And it might fit, it might not, but the screw is important. And he's not going to be responsible to make sure the screw works with our knife. So just keep that in mind if you pick one up. This is the one I would probably grab right here. This is going to have the stone milling. Then it's going to have carbon fiber weave inlay. Is that... It's not inlaid on the... No, okay, it's just a DLC pivot. And then you have the weave there. And then you have this beautiful black wash blade, I think. I'm going to confirm that it's not... where are the specs on this one? Super clean blade length. So blade finish, tumbled DLC belt satin. Okay. So he's going with the DLC belt satin again, and then it has a tumble on it. Got it. Okay. And then you have a belt satin with the frost. And is this one smooth? Oh, this one would have been sick with the stone milling on it. This one's smooth. Handle material, yeah, it's titanium. So that one's got a smooth body with the belt satin. You can see it here. That would have been sick with this on the sides like that other one, but that's okay. And then you have the one we have here, the stone milled one. All right. Oh, it looks like there's a Pimp Daddy, but that is sold out already. And that one has, holy shit, whatever all that is, that looks nasty. Sexy, dude. And then here are the stations that are currently available on his website. $375 in Van-X and Fat Carbon. Absolutely perfect price, in my opinion. So, there you go, guys. That is the RR3 from Knife Standards. Pre-order is up now. Let me know in the comments if you picked one up on pre-order or if you are picking one up on pre-order. And any questions you have for me or ATR, leave them down in the comments, and he will answer those for us, I am sure. Check out knifestandards.com. Check out Knife Standards on YouTube. He has a YouTube channel and reviews knives other than his own. He actually just, I think, posted a video about unboxing 3 Divos. So that would be cool to check out if you want to check that out. And... if you can, support the guy because he's a great dude. I've met ATR a couple times now in person at shows. Him and his lovely wife are really, really cool people. And he's dedicated this line of knives to his father. And I think it's just an awesome company, an awesome story. And he also has awesome and unique designs. You know, when you look at a Knife Standards knife, I really don't think you can say... that looks like X. You know what I mean? They always have a uniqueness to them, and I think that's important. And he's done a great job with that. So shout out to ATR. Thank you for letting me check this out. This knife is heading over to Ray over at Everyday City Carry. So check out Everyday City Carry on YouTube and Instagram. You will get Ray's take on this knife. And let me know if you guys have any questions. I love you. I hope you have a fantastic day. Links are in the description for this knife and everything else I have links and coupons for. So check that out. And I love you guys. I will catch you later.